All right, let's talk about a really fascinating puzzle. What do you do when a stock just appears, when it explodes onto the market and has almost no history, no past to look at? How do you even begin to figure out what's going on?
It all starts with a number like this one, a gain of more than 370%. I mean, a move like that, it doesn't just get your attention, it gets the entire market's attention.
And here's the kicker. This didn't happen over a few weeks. It wasn't even over a few days. This all went down in one single trading day. Just an absolutely mind-blowing vertical rocket launch.
So that brings us to the big question, right? When a stock has only been trading for 3 days, your normal playbook, all the standard tools, they're completely useless. So how in the world can anyone make sense of this madness?
Okay, so the company we're looking at is Starfighters Space Inc. You'll see it under the ticker FJET, and its stock didn't just climb, it went what traders call parabolic. That's when a chart goes pretty much straight up. And this whole wild story unfolds in just 3 days.
So here's how it went down. Day 1, FJET has its IPO. It hits a decent high of 1772. Day 2 is super quiet, kind of like the calm before the storm. And then day 3, boom. The stock just detonates, rocketing up 370% to close at $31.50. Just total chaos.
And this, right here, is the big problem for any analyst. When you're staring at a chart like this, your standard toolkit is basically empty. You are flying completely blind into uncharted territory.
I mean, think about it. Your usual go-tos are gone. Want to look at a 50-day moving average? Well, you can't. You've only got 3 days of data. How about momentum indicators like RSI or MACD? Nope. They need way more time to give you anything useful. And a long-term trend? It literally does not exist. It's like you're a detective showing up to a crime scene with zero evidence.
So when the usual tools are useless, you have to pivot. You have to start looking for other kinds of clues, kind of like fingerprints left behind at the scene. And the first, most glaring fingerprint in this case? A gigantic surge in trading volume. This is where the real detective work starts. We're going to follow the only 3 trails of evidence that we actually can analyze. That's the volume, a neat little tool called VWAP, and just the raw price action itself.
So our first piece of evidence, and wow, this is a big one. Just look at that bar on the far right. After that sleepy second day with about 2 million shares traded, day 3 saw almost 50 million shares change hands. This tells you it wasn't just some small group of traders. This was a huge market-wide event.
Let me put that in perspective for you. That's more than 20 times the volume from the day before. This isn't just a number, it confirms the move is for real. It tells us there's an incredible amount of interest and money pouring in. The volume is the fuel in this rocket ship.
Okay, our second clue is something called VWAP. Sounds complicated, but it's really not. It stands for Volume Weighted Average Price. Just think of it as the true average price for the day, because it's weighted by how much was traded at each price. Basically, it shows you where the big money was really doing business.
And here's where you can really see the buying frenzy. On day 3, the VWAP, that true average price, was $21.20, but the stock closed way up at $31.50. What does that mean? It means buyers were so aggressive, so desperate to get in, they were willing to pay a huge $10 premium over the day's average. They were in absolute control.
So with all this chaos, how do you even begin to map out what might happen next? Well, with no history, analysts use the key moments from these first few days as landmarks. That day 1 high of $17.72, that's now a super important support level. Below that, you've got the price from the IPO. And above, nothing. It's just open air, what traders call a blue sky breakout.
So all of these clues start to build 2 very different potential stories for where this stock go. Because this kind of insane volatility, well, it's a classic double-edged sword.
And just how volatile was it? On that one explosive day, the stock's price range from its low to its high was over 300%. That signals absolutely massive reward potential, but, and you have to hear this, it also means there's an extreme risk of loss.
So here you have it, the 2 competing futures. The bullish case says, hey, as long as the price stays above those key levels we found, the momentum could just keep carrying it higher into that blue sky. But the bearish case says, hold on a minute. Moves this fast, this sharp, almost always attract a flood of people taking profits. If the price breaks below that critical 1772 level, it could fall just as fast as it went up.
So after looking at all the fingerprints, the volume, the VWAP, the key price levels, what's the final verdict on a situation that is this wild and this speculative?
Well, the technical picture couldn't be clearer. This is not a stable, buy and hold kind of investment right now. It is a highly, highly speculative play, and it's being driven entirely by that massive volume-fueled breakout that we've been digging into.
And this is the most important takeaway. When you're navigating completely uncharted territory like this, the old maps just don't work. Any decision has to be based on the real-time clues, the flow of price and volume, not on those standard indicators that are totally unreliable here.
Which leaves us with one final, fascinating question. With no history to guide it, running on pure, uncut momentum, is FJET having a genuine blue sky breakout with even more room to run? Or, like the story of Icarus, is this speculative rocket just flying a little too close to the sun? Only the next few days of data are going to tell us that story.